You're listening to Real Talk live streaming right here in beautiful Northport, Florida. I've got two really, really special guests and friends in the house, and we're going to discuss a little bit about what's happening with the holiday season. I'm going to let Mr. Devon start out. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to let my other good friend, Miss Shelby, start it out because ladies first, right, Devon?
You got it.
All right, Miss Shelby, go ahead and take the floor.
Hi, so good afternoon. My name is Shelby Mendelson. I am the Recreation Manager for City of Northport Parks and Recreation. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about our upcoming Poinsettia Parade and Festival that's going to take place on Saturday, December 6th from 3 to 7 p.m. in the City Center Complex area near City Hall in the George Mullen Activity Center. So we're looking forward to a really great event. There's going to be some awesome amenities available for the community. We're going to kick things off at 3 o'clock with a band performance. And then we're going to jump right into our activities and kids zones being available and open for everyone to enjoy. We're going to have a Santa's photo stop available inside the George Mullen Activity Center. We're going to have a craft workshop sponsored by Lowe's, which is an awesome piece. And then we're also going to have a kids zone outside with inflatables and all of those items. And that is for our Poinsettia Festival that is presented by Resurrection Pools. Then at 5 o'clock, we're going to kick off our parade. Our Poinsettia Parade is sponsored and presented by Quality TV. So they are an awesome sponsor for us. And we have about 60 parade units that are going to be making their way down Sumter Boulevard this year for everyone to enjoy. And then we'll close things off like we always do, making sure that we light the tree to really kick off the holiday season. And we'll have some special performances along the way.
Well, you know, as a local realtor, I can tell you this. I've walked that route. I've watched the parades from different angles. I've filmed it through the station before, and it is quite the event. And it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Can you talk a little bit about the impact that has on the local side of things, the coordination with businesses and so forth?
Yeah, so a good piece about Poinsettia Parade and Festival is really the push for that economic development piece. We work very closely with the businesses, local nonprofits, and neighboring communities to make sure that we're able to put this event off without a hitch. Logistically, we start planning almost about a year out. So the planning team has been working diligently to ensure that the plans and the coordination align with what the total outcome is expected to be. Typically for this event, we see around 8,000 individuals come out. So we promote different areas of this through our food vendors. We have about 15 food vendors scheduled. We have 25 merchandise and nonprofit booths that are going to be available as part of our Yuletide shopping village for people to get some of that holiday shopping in. And then, of course, our parade units. A good majority are local businesses as well as those nonprofits. So having that coordination and really promoting what they have for Northport is an awesome aspect as well.
Awesome. Devon, add some insight here from your perspective.
Yeah, so definitely Shelby and her team put on some outstanding signature events there. The Poinsettia Parade, this year, as Shelby talked about, some challenges this year. We had Price Boulevard widening going on, so making sure that everybody knows that there are shuttle services available and that those things are being taken into account, which is super huge there. I think as the city continues to grow, this parade continues to grow with it, as Shelby mentioned. But it's just such a nice time to still have that hometown feeling of a parade. My position in the parade, I get to kind of walk it down and be there for all the parade floats. I get to see everybody and then kind of walk the rest of the route towards the end, and seeing so many familiar faces from growing up in this area and seeing people that have come to our programs and such is just such a fun family event that goes on here annually.
And, I see that it's marked free. Of course, I knew that, but you've got vendors that come out there. You got all kinds of things. But if somebody was looking to add themselves into the mix, a vendor or a sponsor, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see you have our wonderful webpage pulled up there, which has a lot of great information. And on there, we have our vendor forms that are available. So if anyone is still interested in joining our parade, being a vendor at the parade, or potentially our sponsorship opportunities, they can view all of those opportunities there at the bottom under what to expect. So that has all of that information as well. Another piece that we can really jump on today is the theme. So this year we're doing Once Upon a Northport Holiday. So something really neat that we do each year for our Poinsettia Parade is when we give out our parade winner accolades, one of them, the Chris Kringle Award, is really focused specifically on bringing that theme into your float. So this is going to be a really creative year. We're going to see a lot of really cool designs and set pieces. I would say that the people of Northport really come to show for the Poinsettia Parade and Festival. They put it all out there. They work together as a team. So it's a really great community gathering opportunity as well.
Fantastic. We've got Parks and Rec overall does a great job. I mean, kudos across the board, keeping our parks up and keeping them, I think, dressed up and cleaned up. I'm not that I don't want to highlight the special things that we have, but people who go to the park every day, I just want to highlight the care that goes into the parks themselves, and also talk about what citizens can do if they see something wrong at a park.
Yeah, definitely. So we have several parks, as you mentioned, John, throughout the way of Northport there. And something that citizens can do is we have a North Report app. So if they identify anything that is wrong in a park, they're able to put an inquiry in there. That comes toward the city, and they're able to take action on those items. Additionally, we have a park maintenance team that is always willing and able to take any of those inquiries. If individuals might have questions or inquiries or concerns, they're able to pass those forward via our communication chain, such as email and reaching out to our community centers. Those items can be taken action on.
And really the cool effect of that is that app itself, it's really not an app anymore, but it's online. But that whole association of communication back, if you turn in a complaint, it actually they follow back around with you and give you an update on the process, which is really cool.
No, it's great. And it's a way that we can really work together to make sure our parks stay clean. Another piece that is a wonderful opportunity is we have an Adopt a Park program. So through that program, if there is a local group that wishes to help keep the parks clean, they're able to work with the Parks and Recreation Department, and we're able to sign them up to take care of some of those parks.
Fantastic. Devon, you're pretty much over at the swimming area, I'm sure. So give us an update on the swimming area and how that works out during the holiday season.
Yeah, so our main pool, which we call the competition pool, and all of our literature that we put out to the community, there is actually open all year round. There it is heated and cooled. It's our only body of water that's heated and cooled. If you happen to drive by the aquatic center right now, you're going to drive by and say, what happened to all the water in the lazy river? Right now, we are redoing the surface in the lazy river, which goes to what you were just talking about there, John. So, we first built the lazy river there. We had some contractual issues there. Pool got open. Everything looked nice and good there. We started noticing some issues about a year and a half ago. We kept that on the forefront of everybody's mind. Our commission was so fortunate this past fiscal year to identify some savings in last fiscal year to get the project done. So right now, while the facility's closed, we're actually able to get those projects done. So by the time spring break rolls around, we're not closing an amenity in the middle of March, April, May when the warmer months are around. So as the other facility I oversee, Warm Mineral Springs, as the aquatic center numbers go down because it's just the competition pool open, Warm Mineral Springs numbers are actually going up. So last year we had over 153,000 people at Warm Mineral Springs, and that's the highest number since we've been tracking data. So that goes back 7 years there. So with that, there, it just shows that people are still looking to go to these amenities there, and hopefully in the next 6 months or so, we'll have an update, actually sooner than that, update on Warm Mineral Springs of when a potential construction timeline start date would be, looking at sometime next year.
And we could definitely use the impact from visitors coming in. I know local restaurants that everybody is waiting for season this year, and I hope we feel the impact more so than we're all projecting. I know
Absolutely.
I'm one of them. Just being in what I do, but with what you guys do, there's definitely going to be an influx of what you see in participation. I think this year, as people are hunkering down a little bit more at home, they're not traveling as much for the holidays. I think they're going to be here, especially large families. So we should see some pretty good outpouring of support for the Poinsettia Parade and so forth. How are you guys gearing for that?
Definitely. And that's a great point you bring up. When we jumped into trick or treat this past October, there was some concern about the construction that's taking place. And this actually ended up being one of our biggest trick or treats so far. So any construction, anything like that, has become evident that it is not going to keep the people from coming. And as Northport continues to grow, we really look at safety as our number one priority, specifically for the Poinsettia Parade and Festival. We want to ensure that all are safe during this event. The team does logistics prepping through an incident command system, which allows us to work together as a city with public safety, public works, all of those neighboring departments who really and truly have a huge impact on this event. I know we always turn to Parks and Recreation for these events, but specifically for signature events, it takes the entire city to make it happen. So as Devon mentioned earlier, when we were faced with the Price Boulevard closure, how is that going to affect our roadways? We had to work with the public works engineer. Right. So little things like that are imperative in terms of the cohesion and the collaboration to make sure that we're moving forward in that direction, where the community can just focus on the enjoyable aspects of the event, the fun, making memories together. And we as the event organizers are really the ones that are ensuring all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
And really, we're trying to get people to like and share the page, like and share the information. The biggest thing is get this out to your neighbors, get it out to the families in your area. It's really a good time. There's a lot of entertainment there, along with the parade itself. But talk about the parade route and where the best vantage points are for people to park and enjoy it.
Absolutely. So definitely encourage everyone to utilize our shuttle services that are going to be available this year. We have 3 shuttles that will run from the Morgan Family Community Center to the City Center complex, as well as shuttles that will run from the Morgan Family Community Center to the parade drop-off route. So that is specifically for those individuals participating in the parade. Something that we did change slightly this year is the parade is going to start at Morandi. So it's important for the Northport community to make sure that they are aware of that change. Items had to be moved up and the parade staging had to be moved up in order to ensure La France was available for that access route because of the Price Boulevard closure. So we've sent out neighborhood letters. We have a traffic plan release that comes out. All of our maps will be posted on our social media and marketing. And then, of course, you can call us at the George Mullen Activity Center or the Morgan Family Community Center if you have any specific questions in relation to the traffic plan. But highly, highly, highly recommend carpooling, utilizing those shuttle services. We are lucky enough to have Walmart sponsoring some parking for this event, as well as 2 main overflow lots as well. So we have a few different vantage options for people to utilize. If you're looking to have the best view of the parade, definitely going to recommend finding a spot early on the City Center complex, which is on the main street where the parade will come down. That's where we keep our judges stand. It's directly across from City Hall. So you get a little bit more of that personalization of hearing the stories of the parade units as they come down. They're really going to emphasize the business or the nonprofit or the community group and make sure there's a good understanding there. So if I had to choose a place, my place would be City Center Complex.
That's fantastic. How about your insight there, Devon? Because you've been there several times and you've got the kids. And what's your thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah. So definitely, I agree actually with the placement, exactly where Shelby said, especially with having kids, is if you can get to the on the City Center front green in between that location and the Mullen Center there. That's where all the fun's happening. So that's where the games are, the activities are, the vendors are. And then you have the barricades that are up against the route right there. Like Shelby mentioned, you can hear about the parade floats, especially when it gets a little late at night. Then you see the lights flashing around. It's not always that easy to read everybody on that parade float there, but you can hear it and experience it there. Listen, there's people up and down Sumter. I know a lot of people that have their same spots every year. I see them every year when we mark down there. They got their little grills going, music going on the parade. So I think the best spot there is, as Shelby mentioned, but if you can get to the parade, I can't emphasize just in our department, it's an all hands on deck. Anybody who's available is out there working. But Shelby and the team, they meet to talk about everything. I mean, there's a lot of things the community doesn't even think about. We're all excited about the VA clinic that's being built, but for Shelby, that's another parking area that's now restricted on City Center Complex. So where do we look? So, her and her team went out and asked Walmart, hey, would you guys mind donating us your parking lot so we can utilize for this event? Because we know that it's there. Price Boulevard, in my opinion, for this event being closed has actually been a blessing for the parking this year at Walmart, because you're not going to have people going up and down Price that way as people are walking across Walmart. So there's just a lot of things that go into these events that I don't think people, really understand. But, it's not an understatement. Shelby's not making it up when they say they start about a year out of the parade units. Just so much coordination. The ICS, who's on what, or who's on first, what's on second. It's the whole just to make everything happen successfully.
I agree. I agree with you. The fact that Price Boulevard is going to be shut down, there's not going to be that constant traffic there. It's still going to be a caution area, but I'm sure that Northport Police will have that kind of governed a little bit to make sure that pedestrians are in great shape, especially because the road is shut down to begin with. So it kind of, I almost want to turn down that left-hand turn lane going on to Price. Just shut that bad boy down and kind of shut that little strip of road off. Other than racetrack, I don't think anybody would complain too much. But there's also the way into Price or racetrack off of Sumter. So there's a lot of options there, and you put a lot of time into this, Shelby, and you and your team. How does that approach work with Northport PD as far as the road closure and stuff like that?
So we have a great relationship with our police department here in Northport, and they are included in those ICS meetings, incident command system meetings I was referencing earlier. Actually, just before we jumped on our call, I was just speaking with our commander, Layden, who is sort of lead on this project. To ensure the safety, we really have to communicate extremely effectively when it comes to approach, right? So we submit, and we have to have an outside vendor come in to do maintenance of traffic equipment for this event as we are closing a major road. But in attachment with that comes the police aspect, right? So having that straight collaboration with them to be able to talk through these issues is vital. They're the ones that are double checking the traffic plan, making sure that there's no additional concerns we need to be aware of. So that collaboration is extremely strong, and I know that they have our best interest in mind, and we'll definitely be looking out for the community for all of our preparations that we have for this event.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into any event. No matter how big or small, you can have your birthday party at home, and there's still a lot of time and energy goes into that.
Right.
It just happens to be that some of these events that you guys throw are not birthday parties at home. They're major undertakings. And how many vendors do we have, just out of curiosity, right now?
Yep. So we have 15 food vendors, and we have 25 merchandise nonprofit vendors that'll be part of the Yuletide Shopping Village. So that in and of itself is a whole different set of coordination, right? We have our parade unit coordination we have going on, our vendor coordination. We have contracted vendors, so those that we hire to come perform some of those services, such as MOT equipment, Kids Zone, all of those pieces. So you're on a multifaceted sort of communication line So organization is key for my team, making sure everyone has straight expectations of what falls under their purview is extremely important. We want to make sure we're all on the same page. And as Devon mentioned, this is a huge hands-on deck operation. I could not do this parade and festival without Devon's team helping on that parade route. I could not do this parade and festival without our parks maintenance team ensuring that parking is going seamlessly. And lastly, I could not do this event without our people that are up in the skybox, you could say, watching out from an incident command perspective, being readily available should we have an emergency come up or some type of item that requires remediation. So having that EOC established, the Emergency On-Call Center, having them established to help with that event, I would not be able to do this parade or festival without them either.
Well, it takes a team,
Right.
a great team to pull these things off. And you guys analyze these things post event. We've talked about that before.
Yes.
So, the improvements that you guys identified last year are being implemented this year. And what are some of the things that your team assessed that are improvements on what happened last year?
Yeah, definitely one that I really like to hone in on is as Northport continued to grow and this event attendance continued to maximize year after year, a huge additive that we put in last year were the pedestrian barricades. It was notated by our team in that post-event analysis. There was a good amount of concerns from public safety, park staff, of people actually stepping into the parade route, right? So, of course, we want to keep that hometown feeling and that vibe because that is truly what Northport is built on. But it's really important that we make sure to implement those items. And we saw a huge difference last year in ensuring that the safety of the community was put first by adding that. And then they'll go into all different types of things from setup to maybe something they heard a patron say or a really great idea that they saw elsewhere. Part of our CAPRA accreditation is ensuring that we're evaluating everything that we do, events, programs, services, and really providing the best level of service that we can. So we take that extremely seriously. Of course, there's some things that we can't make work, but we really evaluate each one, which I think is the biggest piece there, is in seeing if we can do things about it. And how can we get creative to be able to do so is also a fun part of the job, I would say.
And John, from that perspective, John, from the top down, as Shelby saying, is those suggestions come in from everyone, whether you're frontline staff, whether you're a supervisor or manager. So one kind of silly thing, it just happened from a previous event. We've done the trick or treat event. Gosh, I don't know how many years. And I remember we were sitting in an ICS meeting, and we were doing an exercise, and we said, hey, we got to have our city badges with us. If something goes on here and I need to take control of the crowd, are they going to listen to some guy dressed up in a superhero costume? No, I need to be able to show my city identification and say, hey, guys, I work here. Yep.
I would have listened to you. I would have listened.
Exactly. So just things like that, so it could be something major or it could be something minor just to go, this year on the parade route, staff are wearing brighter colored shirts. So typically we've worn red shirts that say event staff. Well, it's hard to wear a red event staff shirt when the themes for Christmas are red and green. So this year we went with a completely different fluorescent color. So that way somebody could easily point us out from across the crowd. So they're like Shelby said, there's some major things like the pedestrian barricades. And then there's sometimes some minor things that somebody from the public might not even notice, but it's put there intentionally for the people that do need to notice what's going on there. So it's just, being a part of these events on both the operational side and on the planning side, it really opens your minds up to think of all these items. In a couple of weeks, we're going to go through a tabletop exercise, which our emergency management picks a topic and we kind of run through it. Okay, if this happens, what would you do? Okay, well, we did this, but then this happened. What would you do? And it just kind of gets your mind thinking there. So there's so much that goes into these events, and the community should know, to feel safe at these events. There's plans put in place, and back to Shelby's point of all the different people, it's really putting the aces in their places. So, Parks and Rec does not tell PD what to do. We collaboratively say, here's our thoughts, put it together. How are you guys servicing those thoughts? Fire Station 81, this year, they're in a temporary station that's part of the parade route. So we had to work with them. So they're actually distributing those apparatus out to the city, to other stations, to be able to still provide response. Shelby and I, in our roles, we can't dictate and tell fire rescue what to do, but we just have to say, hey, we're closing this road off. Where are we going within there? So, and then let us know, because residents may ask, well, is my fire response time going to be the same? Yes, we've talked with fire rescue, because they're at the table when we make these decisions. So it's just a really awesome, like Shelby said, the key word is collaborative. We go to these meetings, it's a big think tank, and we come out with one voice, one mission.
Oh, that's great. Shelby, anything to add?
I do think that we hit everything that we wanted to go over today. Just one more time to really encourage everyone to come out December 6th, 3 to 7 p.m. We have a whole array of amenities that's going to be available for the community. And we're looking forward to kicking off the holiday season.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I've been part of this for many years now. I've watched it grow from 25 years ago to today. There's been a amazing change, amazing participation change. We are kind of known for our events in the city of Northport, and that's a special thanks to you and your teams, and everybody associated with you, because you mentioned law, you mentioned fire, you've got inner city staff, you've got yourselves and your teams. This is not one department, one goal. It's everyone, one mission, one goal, and that's for a great outcome: safety, 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 and then ultimately just to go have a good time and enjoy yourself. And kind of unbeknownst to me, let your hair down, because I can't anymore. But it's fun to go out there and see a lot of your teammates, a lot of your friends, a lot of your colleagues, the students themselves. They see other students participating. Maybe a marching band, maybe just gymnastics. It could be just about anything you see. This is a valuable thing for our community, and it keeps us connected and unified. People throw that unity or word around it. I seem to like it, because it's
right.
Anytime that you're unified and you have one mission and the outcome is special, the unified approach is a great thing. It's a great tool, and I'm glad we adopted it. We are unity, our community with unity, and most of us, I say this out loud, most of us just go through our days and we participate, we do our things. Yeah. We're not involved in the muck of government. I said this the other day. The best government we had on the federal side was when it was shut down, because nobody was complaining about anything because they weren't talking. So that isn't what's happening here on the local side. The local side, you guys are putting your minds together, your hearts together, and you're driven to have a great outcome, and really a great outcome for the citizens. So kudos to you guys. You have identified some improvements across the board, and that teamwork that pays off at the end, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh man, just all kinds of things thrown out here today. So we're at about 3:34. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think the community, just show up for the event, like Shelby said. I think Trick or Treat was kind of our test to see how the Price Boulevard closure would affect, and we didn't see any numbers go down from there. But I do just want to emphasize the shuttle service, the parade. From there, you could park your car over at the Morgan Center. You could park it, over there in front of the Aquatic Center, jump on the shuttle bus. It drops you right off at the parade route. You get right back on the bus at the end, and it brings you right back over. That's huge. Like Shelby mentioned, carpooling there. Thank you, Sean Kirkpatrick.
Agreed.
Yes. So we're actually getting ready in about 2 weeks, December 9th. Sean, if you want to tune into the commission meeting, there's going to be the presentation of our master plan. And really that kind of just outlines what our future is going to look like and where are those areas. I think we all have heard, definitely the east of Toledo Blade. Actually, I remember when I first joined this department in 2018, we had a meeting at Atwater Park to talk about building a community center out there at that time, and it just wasn't the right time for the community. So we are really interested in there. Boca Chica Park, we just had the groundbreaking for that. So that park should be open February, March of next year, as the last I heard there. So that's going to be off of Chamberlain. But yes, we are definitely excited to definitely push out east there.
Fantastic. Well, if you guys are done, we can end it early. We're going into the winter holidays, but we want to make sure that we say happy Thanksgiving to everybody and enjoy yourself there. Get on the other side of Thanksgiving and then participate in the Poinsettia Parade. If you have a business or if you're a vendor and you want to get involved, contact the city and pull up the city website and do your thing there. Connect with them so you can connect with others. And that's the big thing is as long as you're seen, people remember who you are, the more that you can get seen. Sean's got another statement here. Sean, how the numbers been at the Morgan Center since the repairs?
Yeah. Well, Sean, I am happy to report that we have seen an increase in our drop-in visits. Northport Youth Basketball, which is a external league that utilizes the Morgan Family Community Center Gymnasium, has been reinstated, and they had their first season just this past few months ago. And then we also reinstated in August our adult basketball league program, which saw an astonishing 12 teams participate in that league. So for those that don't know, Sean is referencing the gymnasium at the Morgan Center was unfortunately damaged during Hurricane Ian, and we were down for a little over 2 years with that gymnasium. So on the 1st of January, great way to kick off 2025. We were able to have that facility reopened and ready for the community to utilize. So we're continuing to see those numbers increase, having the kids back in. I can hear them. I'm actually connected via office to the gymnasium. I can hear them playing in there right now, and they're on fall break. So that's wonderful news for us to have the utilization of that gym back for our community, our programs, and also those youth leagues in the area.
And I'm going to say this out loud for the both of you. You endured 2 years of trying to answer the question, when. So now that it's open, it's taken a lot of grief off of your shoulders, hasn't it?
I would say so. Definitely the best way to kick off 2025. I can't believe it's already almost been a year now. So it's a crazy feeling to think we've come that far, but yes, it's a great feeling to be able to tell people that it is live and available for use.
Well, I can tell you that I have a line for 2025. I'm not going to say it on the air, but I will say this. I can't wait to get rid of it so I can go into 2026. And we're doing it with we're doing it with a bang because we've got, the Poinsettia Parade. We're ending the year. We've got a lot of things happening at City Hall. A lot of nonprofit organizations doing things for kids. Awaken is doing their thing with the food bank, trying to keep everybody fed. I know that our Buckeyes, we just had our game, two weeks worth of food dropped off over there today with Larry and his crew doing a great job getting food out to everyone. But you guys do a phenomenal job. I appreciate everything that you do, and we'll just end it here.
One more thing there, John, kind of speaking what Sean and Shelby were talking about there is, one of the things I think the community does not want to see is Parks and Rec go away. That's one thing that the community doesn't want to see. And the reason I bring that up as a nice segue into all these items is it's always awesome to hear when we can improve, but we also want to hear from people when we're doing things right. And we have surveys that are out there, metrics, KPIs, you name it, we have it. that's one thing our department, our leadership does a fantastic job on, is analyzing the data to really show what is needed, where is needed, what are those pieces. So, when we go into these commission meetings and there's talks about, is it this or is it that? We can say, hey, if you go with this, here's all the surveys that support that, and then vice versa from there. So it's just important that people fill that information out for all the communities, all the programs, all the events, all those items, because that's how we use that data to help drive those things. If we're running a program for 5 years and only one person over the 5 years says that they like the program, I think the community's expectation would be we get rid of the program and find something else to do because only one person is saying they like it. Whereas in reality, that program could have an impact of 150, but they're not filling out the surveys, the data, the numbers, and all those pieces. So right. I just want to make sure those pieces, it brought me up about the gym. Sean Kirkpatrick, longtime friend, with the gym there, the same thing was, I don't know if the community realized how big of an asset that gym was until it was actually closed for 2 years. Yeah. And then they said, whoa, this is a huge asset. And then they started talking about the gym, but we got to keep that momentum going about the gym so people understand that, I always say, we can say Parks and Rec is essential, but that puts us fighting with police and fire. And that's not a fight I want to be in. No, we're necessary to the community so that's for our field. So, just want to make sure I threw that out there for everybody listening.
And just to add to that, we recently did our master plan, as Devon mentioned. We were in the developing stages of that. And I highly recommend, if you are not following us on our social media channels, that you please take some time to do that. Facebook, we are posting almost daily of different programs and events. And the reason I bring that up is it was notated items that we were seeing in the master plan we deliver, but people were just unaware of, right? And so it goes back to that saying, you don't know what you don't know. So, we have a really straightforward goal this year to tell our story. Like Devon said, we are necessary in a city service. So making sure that you are following us on those social channels and staying engaged in what we're doing. Come out to the community centers. We'd love to give you a tour. Enjoy the aquatic center. Make sure you step out to War Mineral Springs. Look at all of the parks, pavilions, open spaces, playgrounds we have available. Make sure that you are really integrating yourself into those pieces of Northport, because it is a huge aspect that we really want to make sure as the community continues to grow, they are aware of what they are stepping into, because there are a lot of hidden gems.
Well, you've got the playbook online. You've got the playbook at the chamber. People can stop by there, and the chamber's over by Anna Maria Oyster Bar on 41. Make yourself known there. Pick up information. I say this about realtors: take your customers past the chamber. You'll have nobody better than chamber representation talking about the city in all aspects. So if you're looking to buy or relocate here in Northport or any area that we're in, definitely go past the Chamber of Commerce. You'll learn more about the city, about how it's run, about the functionality of the chamber and the organization within city. That partnership is critical, and that relationship just is that another arm to the citizenry and the businesses, and so it's important that all those things get connected. Sean did bring up something, the 5K. Are we still doing that
yes.
in January?
Yep, Sean, I saw that question just come through. January 17th. So Saturday, January 17th, the 5K will be at the Morgan Family Community Center. We'll pass across into Heron Creek Middle School, that typical route that we utilize for the 5K. So we're looking forward to kick off the new year with the 5K for sure.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you both for being part of this today. Do you have anything else to throw in?
See everybody at the parade.
Yeah, well,
yes,
it's a
we'll
holiday.
See you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah, holiday week. We'll end this one short, but please pass the word around. Let's make this Poinsettia Parade as best that we can, and let's get the participation up. And you all have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, John. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Talk to y'all soon.